Right, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video, this time talking about the event that has been going on for almost a week now, Solstice of Heroes 2021 edition. As you might expect, this is kind of a repeat of the last 2 years of this. The original year, I think it's 4 years ago now, we had heroic reprise missions from the base campaign, which I thought was actually kind of the best iteration of this. I really thought it was cool to kind of rerun old missions with heroic modifiers and more enemies, and it was actually somewhat challenging a lot of the time. And I just thought that was probably my favorite version of this. I do like the EAZ as a zone, and yet here in year 3 now, I think we're all kind of getting sick of it to the point where I just don't think we want to do this another time. I have a feeling that we might not, because if I am guessing correctly, I think the EDZ is going to get sunset. And when the EDZ gets sunset, I think the EAZ probably will go with it. So next time around, they may have to be planning something new for this, similar to how with Mercury sunset, I think the Infinite Forest is not going to be the Haunted Forest for the Halloween event this year. Festival of the Lost, that's what it's called. So I don't know, maybe this is the last year of this, and I don't know, I just always felt like the EAZ was sort of like a wasted use of a pretty cool map. It bothered me a little bit that they never kind of really changed the fundamental objectives of it. It's always just the kill bosses, jumping around the map, then kill a big boss, and then find the chests. So this year, what's different? Not a ton, but they did make some changes to things. They now gave you the ability to see every chest at the end, rather than having to kind of get near them to find them. I have no problem with this change, because that is always kind of the most tedious segment of this, so kind of shortening the whole thing, like it shaves probably like a minute or two off total runtime, just so because you can like run immediately to the chests and get them. They also tried to be helpful by introducing these little grav boost jump things all over the map, and yet those are terrible. They suck up all your momentum and like send you crashing into the side of the wall instead of up. They take away your double jump. Like, I don't know what is going on with the physics of these things, but they are not like normal lifts we've seen in the past, and they are almost always worse than just kind of jumping. In terms of the actual runs, they are pretty short now. You pretty much just match up your heavy weapon with whatever the burn is from the day. The best thing for this, I think, is still just swords. I'm using my Crown Splitter here on Void Day, but for getting through these bosses quickly, I think swords are kind of the best thing with so much ammo, and they're big damage. Sword, like a shotgun, usually is what I've been running for these. And the one thing they changed significantly is the armor grind, where they made it pretty light. I would say compared to past years. In year 1 especially, it was wild, because you had to do pretty much all 3 grinds on all 3 characters from scratch. Last year they introduced a modifier where it would increase the multiplier for your second and third sets. They have that this time, and also I think the objectives are just kind of overall easier. And then the final tier of objectives is pretty much do one decently hard thing per armor piece, and it completes it across your entire account, and that's all you really have to do for that. You don't even have to be wearing the piece of gear for that one. Like, you just have to complete it sometime over the course of the month, whether that's a dungeon or a raid or something like that. So I don't think the grind is very grindy this time around, which is good. I think lessening the grind there is solid, because it's always a little tedious. I have enjoyed kind of going back to Blind Well and Altars of Sorrow a little bit for some of these grinds. I don't know, I just haven't played those in a long time, and it's fun to play them when they're really populated, which has not really been the case for a long time now. So I don't know, I had a little bit of fun doing that, probably more than running the EAZ itself. The rewards this year, so there's the armor set. I liked last year's armor better. I liked kind of the cracked aesthetic with the glows coming out of it. The glows this year are like too intense for me. Like, they're so expansive. They cover like top to bottom the entire armor set, where like if you see someone else wearing the glows in the wild, it almost looks like they are like have some sort of buff active, because they're just like glowing purple or glowing red, like, or orange from a distance, which looks a little odd to me. And I just don't love the aesthetic. I think a lot of the pieces look better without the glows at all. But the glows are purchasable from Eververse for the elemental ones, and then you can earn just the normal white glow through the legendary challenges. You can buy all this stuff for Bright Dust immediately, which is rectified, I think, a problem from a year or two ago. These glows have always been problematic to some extent. I am a little, like, since I like the armor without the glows, it seems the only way to get that is to transmog it, because as soon as you complete objective, the glow is on all the time for that piece of armor. So, and I don't really know if you can transmog the armor with the glow, with the white glow on, which is kind of weird. So I don't know. It's still confusing. The glows are still kind of screwing some things up, but not as much as before. Also, we have a new quote-unquote weapon this time around, the Compass Rose, which is a new shotgun. Problem being, it's boring. I don't know what else to say. Like, it is not very easily farmable. I opened, I don't know, dozens and dozens of Solstice packages, and I have gotten, I don't know, 6 maybe, and like I haven't gotten what I would consider a single good roll on any of them. Going over the perk list, there's like some okay PvP rolls, some okay PvE rolls, but nothing that really stands out. And fundamentally, this is just a reskin of a bunch of other existing shotguns, I think including the Deicide, which is reissued as of this season, the Future War Cult shotgun, which I like a lot better. I think that's rapid fire, and this is precision. So I don't know. It's got a Solstice skin, but that's kind of really the only distinguishing feature of it, and I don't really think that, unlike some other past event weapons, this is really one that's worth pursuing. This is no like Glaciocasm, where that was like a really, really good event weapon. This is more like, I don't know, the Braytech Werewolf or something, where it's just like, it exists and it's unique, but it's not especially good. And that's kind of it. Like, if you open Solstice packages, you are 80% of the time probably going to get a blue item. It's a halfway decent Masterwork core farm. I think I've gotten like 1 prism and maybe 1 upgrade module from, I don't know, again, several dozen packages open. This has been a problem for a while. There was really no great source of anything significant from there other than a few Compass Roses. If you complete all the objectives for, I think if you get 3, since it completes 1, it completes them all. So if you get the legendary tier of armor, you can get potentially high stat rolls of armor as drops from packages. And yet, again, I think I've only gotten 1 or 2 pieces of armor from this entire thing. So as you'll see later in this video, I think I completed a challenge and then got a pinnacle drop from that and then dismantled it because the stats weren't good before I realized it was a pinnacle drop. So whatever. Fundamentally, I think it's time for this event to move on from the EAZ and do something else. I have had a long-running theory about why Destiny's events are kind of bad now, which is, it seems weird because, like, okay, Destiny's like this big live service game now, they're doing all this live content, so like, why would its live events be like one of the worst things it does? Well, because the game did not used to be this live, and in Destiny 1 or early in Destiny 2, when there was not seasonal content and not big drops every 3 months or so, the live team was mostly working on things like events. So that's why you had enough people and enough resources to do something super elaborate like Sparrow Racing, whereas now events are kind of just copy and pasted from the previous year with very minor changes because the live teams are working on the live content, all the seasonal content. So this is kind of why I think that these are kind of not as good as they used to be, and why some events are getting cut entirely, like Crimson Days. Because now we're down to Guardian Games, Festival of the Lost, Dawning, and this one, Solstice of Heroes. So we have 4-year, but for the most part, they are very similar to one another, and they change like very little. Guardian Games doesn't really have its own dedicated event, either just the Dawning. It's mostly based around armor and challenges and packages to open. And then the ones that do have their own dedicated activity are things we've done for, I think both are at 3 years now. So we did 3 years of the Haunted Forest, and then we're doing 3 years of the EAZ. And it's just kind of time to move on, I think. So we will see if that happens in the future here, or if these events will just continue to get slimmed down even more. Maybe next year there's no EAZ at all, and we're just getting packages dropped at the end of Crucible matches or strikes or something, if that's been sunset. So I guess we'll have to see what happens. I would love for there to be entirely new things that they create for events like this. I think one of the big complaints about Guardian Games was that there was no kind of dedicated activity for it, and they had the strike playlist with like modifiers, but you didn't really have to do it ever for any reason. So I don't know. I just don't think events are working very well on Destiny, and they seem mostly about getting you to buy armor ornaments, and that's mostly it. And like cosmetics, like funny ghosts and sparrows and things, which is fine. I mean, I respect that game. That's, just how things are these days, but the events themselves are kind of like nothing. Like the rewards are just not there. I think very rarely you will see something that has like a truly kind of, yeah, I got to get that reward. Guardian game, the first Guardian games gave out heir apparent, which was obviously something that a dedicated exotic for an event is kind of a big deal. So we've not seen that very often at all, nor have we seen kind of specialty event weapons be very good outside of Glaciocasm and I don't even know the bow, the set roll bow that had that came up a while ago. I guess that's kind of it. That's all I can really think of. So I don't know. It's fine. I think I'm kind of done with it. I'm not going to go for like mass compass rose grinding or anything. I'll probably complete the legendary, white glow objectives by the end of the month if I had to guess, but it's not something I'm kind of going out of my way to pursue. I've been kind of trying to grind out some of the new moon weapons. That has proved to be relatively fruitless because there are only about one good roll on each of the moon weapons now because of all the perks they removed, and I have gotten 0 rolls that I've kept across any moon weapon, and this is after many, many attempts in the past week or so. So Solstice needs to evolve, like all the events need to evolve, but I kind of understand why we're in the place we're in. So those are my thoughts, and we will see if I can copy and paste these for next year, but I have a feeling things might change by then. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.